Okay, good evening. This is Taxonomy Tuesday from New Jersey Mycological Association. This is where our members share their recent fungal finds and help explain their identifications or get identification information from others more knowledgeable. Do we have anybody who would like to start, who share from their computer? If not, I guess Hunter, can you go? I'll start.
Yes, I could. I could.
All right, let me start finding your pictures.
Okay, thank you. So I went back to Wisconsin. My mother-in-law passed this weekend, so things were a little bit different than I planned, and I did not get back to the places I had been before. And it was very hot the week prior. It's not really dry there, but it's super hot. So it was. But I found this really pretty Amanita, and I've got some more pictures of it. It was alongside a oh my gosh, a flowage, basically. And
I didn't quite understand that. A flowage?
yeah, flowages are big in northern Wisconsin. They're basically wetland areas with a lot of water, basically swampy wetland areas, and beavers, and a lot of beavers in this particular flowage. So really high quality area, water wise and purity wise. But not a lot of mushrooms, unfortunately. But I did find this one, and then there's a couple more pictures of it. And it broke, like I couldn't really get it all out, but there was not much more than that. So is that the annulus way down at the bottom, or is that the remnant of a vulva? I guess it's a vulva.
Yeah, that's the strangulated vulva. This is the kind of thing that you get in some Amanitas, including varicolor that I talked about maybe a couple of meetings ago.
Okay. So is that what you're leaning towards with this one?
No.
No.
Not necessarily. I don't think this is Rhizopogon. There's Sinica flava. There is what's the other one?
Xanthomitra.
Xanthomitra. Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
That might be Xanthomitra. Texas Aurora, that's another one.
Yeah, I've thought about that too, but I only seen it once, sort of because I sequenced it. But it had a cap more like that. But I don't think this is Rhizopogon, just a different shade.
Nah, it's too light brown for Rhizopogon.
Yeah, it's too yellow for Rhizopogon. Yeah.
Yeah, and also the disintegrating basal vulva, it should be a little grayer, I think, for Rhizopogon. Look, it's kind of this orangey.
Yeah, it was a really
interesting
color. I mean, and it's not vulva, right?
No, it's not. No.
Yeah.
So it has a fully developed sac. This is not a sac.
Yeah. So I mean, I knew it wasn't, and it was something different for me for sure. And the color was really different from what I've seen. So okay, I'll
yeah.
Can you put those in the chat, Dave? Those two, the couple that you're.
Oh, okay. They might be available. I'm not sure if they're merely provisional species. They might only be available on amanitaceae.org.
Okay, but
so I'll look though. You know what? There's probably if nothing else, there's probably some observations on Mushroom Observer where either of those names is proposed. This is an unusual one, though. This
Agreed.
this one seems interesting. Did you preserve this?
I did not. I did not.
Wow.
I know. I should have. I did not preserve anything this time.
Let me see what I can find on either of those two species.
Okay.
Yeah.
And if you feel end up feeling more confident, but there's not a link, like just even the spelling on them, in the chat, so I can and so I can look at them later, because I'm doing the show and tell right now, so I'm distracted and don't know how to spell them, so that would be great.
Yeah, after raking my memory a little bit, I don't think we can exclude varicolor either, because that one can also have a gray vulva, at least on the cap, and it does have the strangulated, vulva on the bottom, like this flaring ring that
Mhm.
sits kind of at the bottom of the stipe. So that's also a remote possibility, but that's why they call it varicolor. It can be almost anything. It can be pure white, and it can be almost dark brown. And
Okay.
the vulva color also varies. It could be orangish in the cases where the cap is white, and it could be like that in the darker ones. And I have some observations from many years ago that actually I sequenced, and they all turned out to be the same thing.
Okay.
I'm going to put the Michael Quebec link for Amanita varicolor into the chat. It looks like a pretty good possibility, actually.
Yeah.
Okay, good. I just got home literally, so I've had no time to really. I mean, I did pull out the Amanita book and like got that far, and so I've been unable to do anything. But I put these together when I was in Wisconsin, just some stuff to show, but didn't have any time to like check them
Yeah.
out.
Pretty sure that varicolor is a conifer associate, because the one you find is in the pine barrens, and we find it in the fall. Like I saw some in September at Brandenburn State Forest in the
Okay.
spot where I've never seen it before.
So this was mostly, I would say, birch and not really not conifer heavy here.
I mean, who knows? It might be more host flexible as you go north, but in New Jersey, like I said, New Jersey will only find this in the pine barrens late in the season. September onto November, and sometimes even December.
Okay.
I've got a Mushroom Observer observation of Xanthomitra that was verified by Ratulas, and I believe there's also sequence information. I'll put it right in the chat right now.
Yeah, I have one too from Estelle Manor that was sequenced a few years ago. Xanthomitra.
Yeah, Xanthomitra looks like a good possibility also. These are tricky. These vaginate are tricky because they're not always the same color.
Yeah, that varicolor also did look, promising too, though. Wow. Yeah, this one's interesting. Cool.
Yeah, varicolor has the chevron pattern on the stipe that can be orangish or grayish orange. So that probably and the combination of the habitat and the time of fruiting makes it more specific. I don't think this is a varicolor, to be honest with you. So
You don't think there's a chevron pattern on there? Not really. It's
the wrong color. If there's any ornamentation on the stipe,
yeah.
it's not.
There's no color.
But
Yeah.
again, variations are possible. I just think they tend to be more colorful and darker on the stipe.
Okay. All right. Well, cool. I thought it'd be nice to share. It was a nice looking mushroom. And then another Amanita section lepidella. This thing was huge. It's and again I tried to dig it all up, and I missed a little bit of it. But it was like 8 inches, 8.5 inches at least long, and there's the material. Just I didn't even try to get it on me, and it just all over the place. So I'm thinking I haven't had really a chance to look at the fine differences between Ravenelli and subcocori or cocori, or I know we talked a little bit about it last time. I mean, not last time, but in the last few weeks, I know we've talked about how the kind of material on the cap is different depending on the species. A little bit, even, you know, at first glance, it might look very similar, but what one is like more pointier, or what was it?
Let's take a look at the cap. You know, just to expand the picture of the cap. Yeah. So I don't think this is Ravenelli. It's definitely not. It's not subcocori. It's not subcocori. You know. So
no, I don't think this is subcocori. Which one did Rod describe the volval patches on the cap as being like mud cakes? Was that Rhopalopus?
yeah. Well, I thought about that
Ravenellii?
one. I thought about that one. Scenario panosa.
Scenario panosa, right? But there's another one too, either Ravenellii or Rhopalopus, I think.
No, but the vulva in those two, it doesn't look like this.
All right. So look at the base of the stipe. Does it have the scales going all the way down? Looks like they phase out. Also, yeah, look at this really long rooting.
Yeah, those
also.
big warts on the cap that are grayish. I think it's not Rhopalopus or Ravenellii.
Yeah. They look too gray.
And
right.
look at the ring. The ring, its presentation, the partial veil is also not consistent with either of those species. It's just
maybe Scenario panosa then.
It's too flocose, but Scenario panosa, I don't think it has a. I have to check if it has that kind of a bulb. Very eradicating.
Yeah.
You see the ring? It's just too flocose. It's too evanescent. It's just not...
most of the PV appears to be clinging to the margin of the cap.
Yeah, it's disintegrating.
That can happen with almost anything.
No, but the overall, you can still see a lot of material sort of projecting toward the stipe, and again, the properties of the partial veil tell me this is something different. I don't know what the species is.
How about it's not abrupta, right? That would have
no.
would have abrupta. A big bulb.
Abrupta does not have eradicating bulb.
Yeah, abrupta also has sort of like these white, sort of hard pyramidical warts on the cap, not like these like little piles.
Abrupta has a very tight ring that has these struts, as I call them, these fibrils that are very thick, that are sort of supporting the ring from the underneath. The structure of the ring here is unlike abrupta. This is not abrupta, 100%.
Yeah, no, not abrupta. Abrupta also, the name refers to the fact that the bulb is abruptly, almost like a shelf.
Yeah.
Bottom of the stalk.
Right.
I'm just saying that the overall shape of the bulb, it's not radicating in abrupta. It's kind of a little bit turnip shaped, almost like like a bowl or half a bowl or something like that. It doesn't have a root, because this one is very long. Yeah, actually, it was not collected entirely. I think it's missing another half an inch at least.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, it did get really hot there, so that may be, I mean, way unseasonably hot, for the last like 2 weeks, and it may have played a part in the way it's looking, but
yeah, this would have been nice to sequence, because now we can sequence lepidella.
Oh, bummer.
Fortunately, with nanopore, we can resolve all these haplotypes that are inside each of the species, because Sanger just gives you a gemisch of sequences.
Okay, well, I'm going to be back again next weekend for the funeral, and I'll probably take a day or two more. So maybe I can bring back some Amanitas and do a little more work on them. So this again, I think has been affected by the conditions. It was growing on wood, and this was mostly deciduous. This was just a trail through various lakes, and things were pretty dry and where I was there, and so I just kind of thought it was kind of cool and just grabbed.
I think this is a Typhrasa
Okay.
gossatina.
That's what INAT said at first, and then they sort of like took it back later for some reason. But
Well,
okay.
the cap doesn't look right because it's dried out and it's not normal looking. But I
Yeah.
think that's what it is.
Okay, so it has
Well-
that what is it, rogus? Is that how you would describe it?
Rugulose.
Rugulose.
Rugulose. Right. Yeah.
Rugulose, the cap. Okay.
Looks like it dried out before it matured also because the gills are kind of pale. I wonder if you would get any spores out of this.
Yeah, and I don't have it. It's a good question.
I think that's what that is. I mean, I'm not completely confident, but
Yeah, no, I think
it's got it had a partial veil. It's clinging to the margin of the cap. That happens with Typhrasa.
Can we
Hmm.
please see the cap again?
Which, by the way, used to be Cantharellula delineata, and some authors still use that.
Well, according to Steve Russell, he actually published in his own journal a quick communication, basically like 5 lines. Typhrasa delineata, that's the American combination. Gossipina is European, according to him.
Okay. So that's been split up again. All right.
Yeah, it's on the Mo. You can find both names in there.
You know what?
so.
I saw that and I forgot. I don't because I've only seen it once. I have to see stuff like that about 5 times before I remember it. So this is now twice. Thank you.
Yeah, and I think this is the second time for me as well on that. Are they calling it Typhrasa delineata, or is it still, or are they?
No, it's
calling it
Typhrasa. It's a new combination.
Okay.
So it's Typhrasa, and delineata is the epithet that Smith gave it as Sephrella back in the
Right.
whatever 70s.
Yeah, that's assuming that the Typhrasa gossapiana actually doesn't occur in North America. We might have both. You don't know really.
Yeah, it's a saprobe. So we have to ask Steve, why he thought this was an appropriate combination.
But yeah, I agree. Whatever you want to call it, Dave, Igor, it's that thing. It's the wrinkled one.
Ugh.
Something easier.
Oy.
Oh.
Easier? Maybe not.
Yeah.
Well, I don't like one that dried out.
That's
I
pretty
think
big.
this might be that strangely lamellate Daedaleopsis, not Confergosa. There's this other species of Daedaleopsis. It has really gill-like hymenium.
and not quercina because
So maybe this is Trimides betulina. It could be that also, but looks kind of wrong for that. I don't know why.
It's awfully large, and there's only one of them.
How big was this again?
there were actually 2 or 3 on this, and it was probably like 4. It's not as large as it looks. It's a small oak. I believe in oak. And so it was maybe 4 or 5 inches across, probably.
Too big for Betulina.
Yeah, and pretty, but yeah, I did not recognize it. So what was that other, yeah, let me see. What's this other one you're thinking, Dave? If it's not quercina and not confergosa, there's another one, or?
Septentrionalis, maybe. There are a few photos on Quebec. They don't really look like this, but I think there's a picture in the Polypore book that might look a little bit more like this. You know, the Bissett book. But I'll put the link in to the chat anyway.
Okay, I'm in the Bissett book now, and I agree that the underside looks very correct. In their book, the cap is quite orange, but I'm gonna
Yes,
But-
it's also on Quebec. So this might be wrong. So this might just be a big Trametes betulina.
Okay.
That's not a conifer, is it?
No.
It's a hardwood tree.
Yeah,
Right.
I'm pretty sure. I'm thinking it's an oak. Yeah.
Can we go back to the underside? Was it kind of slotted, elongated, slotted?
Only in the margins do we see it look like the Daedaleopsis.
Yeah, it could just be Daedaleopsis. Yeah.
I don't think the
Or
Betulina.
Confergosa, I mean. It could just be Confergosa. I mean, it doesn't really look like it, but
Yeah, because it was deceptively. I thought it was much larger.
Yeah.
Could it also
Like a
be?
foot.
Could it also be thinner than it kind of appears in the photograph? Because it appears pretty thick.
It is rather thin. It was.
Okay. Yeah, I think Daedaleopsis is a good bet here.
And so Confergosa though, for sure, not. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if there's a way to tell the difference other than, by the way they look or by sequencing. Let me look and see what it says on Quebec about spore size.
Well, isn't it the way that it stains, right? Which at this stage of development, you're not going to get much staining,
Yeah,
right?
Confergosa should stain reddish brown when you bruise it on the hymenium. But when they're this dry, it's probably not going to happen.
Wow. Now that I'm looking at it, in the Bissett book, it's really looking like quercina even. Which surprises me because I thought I knew that one well, and that the maze.
I don't think this Daedalia quercina. That one has thick pore walls.
Yeah,
These are really thin, like gills.
Open pores, like open maze structures, but yeah, okay. I don't know.
These things are hard. I mean, especially when we find them like at the ID table at a 4A, and they're, mostly always old and beaten up. I think they're kind of difficult to figure out.
I thought I really knew Daedalea quercina, and I mean I would not have put that label on this, but yeah, it could be though. They're different. Yeah, right.
Well, Bissett says for the septentrionalis that they should be a lot of forking. I don't know if I can see forking in this kind of thing.
Well, right at the edges.
Yeah, I see some.
What's the difference between the forking and the Daedalites, the maze-like things that come out? I don't know if I would consider the maze things to be forking.
Cross connections, lateral connections as you approach the margin.
But that's what I see when I see the Daedalus, the maze-like structure. So,
I think these are gills. They're tightly packed and they're wavy, and they also have a jagged edge, which is more consistent with Trametes.
Yeah, I'm gonna put a
Tricholoma.
picture of Daedalea quercina. You know how it's online, but this is how it looks when I find it, and I just don't think it could possibly be it. I just put it in the chat.
I just put in the chat a mushroom observer that was somebody identified as Daedaleopsis septentrionalis, and it does not look unlike this.
Oh, this is awfully maze-like.
Well, this thing right here is Quercina Daedalus.
but
Right.
it's got thick walls.
Yeah.
Yes.
The thick walls, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, there's another link that I put in. You can have a look at.
Yeah, I'm
I just
looking
put
at
it
you
in.
right now. And it's definitely more similar, I would say. For sure. So yeah, maybe that is what it is. I'll try to post it on the Polypore Facebook.
Now this is just somebody's proposal. I don't think this was sequenced. Who proposed this anyway?
This is Huafang.
Who was it?
Huafang, our
Oh.
friend from Michigan.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
That
Yeah, that's
Chinese woman that's in the woods every day, and Steve sequenced the entire herbarium of hers.
Yeah, she's pretty good.
So what we're looking at right now is another septentrionalis observation. Is that correct?
That's what she calls it.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you collect yours in in Wisconsin, and that's pretty much the same latitude as Michigan.
Right.
So it's more boreal. So
Yeah.
we don't see the species in New Jersey, I think.
Okay.
And
Is
I
there a
think
cap picture of hers? Sorry, Brendan.
no, you're good.
Is there a cap picture on hers?
Yeah, there's another photo in the oh, did I just link the image? I'm sorry, I just linked the image.
Well, I could have gone to the image. I don't know which yet.
Nah, I think maybe I screwed up.
There's a button that should say return
No,
to
I
observation.
I only linked the image.
Because you're not logged in.
Oh wait, maybe not.
love
Yeah,
this.
there's two pictures here.
That's the other one.
Oh, okay. So we did see this. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, hers is so
There's
orange.
the other one.
There's the other photo, right? We're gonna
Oh.
see it now.
Okay.
Not unlike what you have.
Yeah, more similar. Yeah, okay, cool. I mean, I don't know what else it could possibly be. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, it's
I think that's a good idea.
I do too. Yeah.
And the only thing I was going to add is often when I find these Daedaleopsis things, bugs have eaten off a lot of the pore layer, and I think on yours maybe that's what we saw. Like they kind of look jagged towards the center, and I think maybe that's just bugs eating away at it.
Okay. Or the dry conditions, maybe.
Maybe, yeah.
Okay, cool.
So I'm about to post the link of the Daedaleopsis septentrionalis from this website, which is a good reference. So I don't. Yeah, it could be actually mushroom. Sorry, it could be a mushroom expert, but it looks kind of different. I think that the gill cover and the gill structure, or the hymenophore, I should say, are in good agreement with Hunter's mushroom.
Very jagged.
And that's the one that I guess has a greater tendency to appear as a single bracket, as opposed to Trametes betulina that shows up as multiple brackets usually.
But Hunter did say there was more than one. We only just got a picture of the one.
Oh, okay.
It's interesting. Hunter's thinks hers is on oak, and everything I'm reading about the septentrionalia is birch associate. Otherwise, it looks like it.
Yeah, and I mean, so we don't have birch where I live, like barely any, but it's everywhere in Wisconsin. But that did not look like birch bark to you guys, right? I mean, it looks like no, right?
And that's
Yeah.
what it says here, septentrionalis, actually, which means northern. That word grows only on birch wood.
Oh, only on birch. Okay,
Yeah.
so
Oh,
that
So
kind
we
of rules it out.
so that rules it out. Yeah.
Why is Tramedes betulinus not in the set book? It's got to be in here. Did it change the name or something?
Probably under the old name, Lenzites
Oh,
betulinus.
oh, thank you. I was like, I'm gonna keep looking for it and okay.
I think that would be a little bit unusual on oak as well.
Let's see. Solitary or in groups on decaying broadleaf wood, especially birch, oak, and willow. Rarely.
Oh, it's also oak. Okay, so that's probably what it is then.
Yeah.
It just looks.
And,
It didn't look colorful enough to me. Usually,
right.
maybe because it's really dried out.
Theirs is
Usually,
orange as well. Yeah, kind of orange, right? Oh, and then no gloeophyllum, not an option.
they grow. There's one that grows. You know what? There's a gloeophyllum that grows on hardwood. I think most of those are conifer associates, but I think there's one that grows on hardwood. Yeah, let me look that up.
Hmm.
These things are difficult. I concur. I'm not sure what this is.
Thanks, Lila. Yeah, I concur as well. Yeah. Huh. Okay. Well, we can move on and see. I'm gonna move all these to Mushroom Observer. I mean, get
One last thing. Gloeophyllum abiatinum. Michael Quebec says it grows on conifers usually, but it might be found on hardwood. So it looks a little like this also. So you know what? I'll put a link. I'll put the link in.
okay. Yeah, that one also is not in the Beset book. But of course they don't live up north. So yeah. I wonder if it had a different name as well, too, probably. Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah. Hmm. Hmm. Interesting. Couple possibilities here.
Okay. What's the size on this one? Is how big is the gloeophyllum? Does that one get big? 2 to 8 centimeters. Let's switch to English.
If you go to the three dots, you can go to English. If you
I'm
just go
trying to find the 3 dots. That's
all the way at the top there, yeah, and then go to just translate.
Oh, I don't want to translate. I want the site itself has an option to switch to the language.
I know, I don't know, I know that, but you may be better off just going to translate.
Right click on the text, and it depends on your browser, but you might get a prompt to translate to
Translate
English.
to English. I just saw it.
You just told somebody how to do a tech thing.
Yeah, the one thing we know.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, but I only needed the size, and the size is still the same regardless of what language.
Yeah, I know. I think that's funny. You wanted
There's
to.
only a couple of inches, and you said yours was 4 inches, so this is probably too small.
Yeah, no, it was yeah, it was kind of substantial. Yeah, yeah, more than centimeters. For sure.
Yeah. So this is more like what the other Gloriophyllum is pretty small.
Yeah, and no, this must be not that.
Yeah. And the cap. I mean, you can't tell by one picture, but I don't like the cap changes either. Okay. I guess we're ready to move on.
Sure, we can move on.
Another polypore, is it?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, this I meant to show last week. So this was more like 2 weeks ago. And I just sort of wanted confirmation on this ID. I think it could be right. This was growing in moss, as you see, white pines, maybe some hemlock around both probably, and yeah, like lakeside wetter conditions.
So there was no oak there.
There could have been,
Did you taste it?
no.
Yeah. So there's one that grows near oak called Tricholoma pullum.
Mm.
That's a sort of a very gray.
Yeah, this is not poem.
Not pullum. All
I
right.
don't think. Yeah, and I don't think this is portentosum either.
I don't think it's portentosum. That's why I'm mentioning other names. Portentosum usually has some like yellow on the gills.
Oh,
And the
okay.
cap just looks kind of frosty on these. That doesn't
Yeah,
portentosum in my mind.
right. Like it almost has like a bloom on it, almost, right? Like,
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I don't know my tricholomas very well. But do you think that's the genus is right, or not even sure on that?
I think it's a tricholoma.
Okay, that's good. What about the gray knight? It's not that, right?
Gray knight. Well, there's several gray tricholomas. There's myosibmes, Terium.
My myces is conspecific with Therium.
Okay, there's Terium. Terium associates with a variety of conifers.
Yeah, but they're small.
They're usually small, right? Well, how big are these? This one looks kind of big on the right. That's why I didn't say Terium, because it looks kind of big.
Oh yeah, Terium is the gray knight. Yeah, it was meaty, right? Probably 4 inches tall, and the stipe a good inch minimum.
Yeah, it looks too robust for Terium, really. Those
Right.
those are more
That's why I
slender.
kind of went with that portosum, because I was thinking it like was alluding to like fat somehow, the name.
Is this cap unusual with this like looks like it's merged together?
Yeah, it's kind of wavy there. That is interesting.
I mean, I don't think the stipe is fused of two, but it looks more like the top got split.
Yeah. Well, and then the one on the left looks like, I mean, in the middle looks like it sort of has that
Good
split
going, yeah.
Yeah, so that might be something they do. That's a good observation. Yeah, I don't really know. And then it's forking. The gills are forking, right at the margin. Yeah.
Yes.
Let's see, we need to have a close look because sometimes you just have short gills that lean up against the long gills, and then it looks like a fork. So those might not
Oh,
really be forks; those might just be short gills.
yeah, I see what you mean. Right. Yeah, that
I think those are just short gills.
yeah. Because you can see them. Yeah, got it.
Yeah, the ones you can see head on. You know,
Yeah,
the ones at the angle you can't see where they terminate, so it looks
exactly.
like they're joined to the longer gills.
Well, thank you for pointing that out. That's very cool to be aware of. Okay. Okay. Well, a tricholoma and a big one.
Do you
And
have the Tricholoma book?
no, there's a tricholoma book.
There's a Beset Tricholoma book.
Come on.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's on a pile of books I have here.
you can't get the hard copy anymore, but you can get the electronic copy.
Oh, perfect. Sounds good. Okay. I will look at that.
Is that the one also Steve Trudell helped on? Steve Trudell.
There's a better reference now. It's the Michael Quebec, opus from a few years ago, and you can download that from their website, I think, or something like that. It's a big paper. It's like almost like a book, and the file is huge. You cannot email that thing.
I will look for that. Thank you very much. Yeah, no, I have no resources for tricholoma at all.
Chances are that you'll find your Tricholoma there because that's a Canadian publication, which is closer to you.
Yes. Okay, very good. I will I'll check that out. Thank you so much. Yeah, so good to know. So I guess one more, or am I done?
I think that's it. Two Amanitas, Portobello, the
Oh, so that was
the Tricholoma, the polypore, and then the Tricholoma.
okay. If we have time later, there's one that Nicole posted on Facebook that I was interested. Maybe I could try screen share later. That I weighed in on, but I said I hope hopefully some other people will weigh in on it. It's a Amanita. She thought it was Rhizopogon. I thought it just didn't feel right to me, and I'd love to chat about it later if there's time, because nobody else weighed in. Would that be possible later, maybe?
There's time. It's always possible.
Okay, fantastic. Okay, let's move on.
Okay, if anybody has joined who has something that they want to share from their own screen, please let us know via the chat.
Yeah, they did.
Emily
did.
Did somebody say there is somebody in the chat, or?
Yeah, it's me, Emily. I put one in the chat. Well, I mentioned in the chat that I have one to share. I'll be
Okay,
quick.
all right. So let me stop the share. Okay, go ahead, Emily.
All right, I'm still a little slow with sharing, so bear with me. Oh, hang on. It's I forgot about this from the last time. I got a new computer a month or so ago, and I don't use it that much, but it looks like I need to go in and finagle some system settings. Hang on. All right, if somebody else wants to go, I have to quit and sign back in.
See you soon, Emily.
go on to Brandon then. Is that all right, Brandon?
Yeah, I just thought this was a weird, you know, lavendula type thing. It's got a bit of a pinkish red coloration to both the UV material on the cap and the basal vulva.
Yeah, that color of the UV material on the cap is partly responsible for the lavendula tag, so it's kind of lavender, and sometimes the cap itself actually innately stains that color.
Yeah, this is very typical presentation of the vulva. It's not uncommon at all.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so it's Stirps citrina.
Yeah, then
Yeah.
is that pretty much the best we can do? Is Mappy, Stirps,
Yeah,
citrina?
some people put names on them based on some dubious morphological traits. Really, there's one of them has spores that are a little bit different sized. Out of the three common ones: lavendula, Americitrina, and Cornelia hybrida.
Yep, those are the ones that we discussed. I think there was a fourth one that we discussed a few weeks ago when we were talking about lavendula.
Well, Porphyria may have come up. That one looks kind of different. It's usually darker, but I found Porphyria kind of light, but this is not Porphyria. It's definitely not Porphyria, but that's sort of related to those. It's in Mappy.
What is that series? Sure. Is that's below a section?
Oh yeah. It's above Stirps. But you know, in North America, we just call it the lavendula group, and INAT doesn't accept that name. Mappa is a European species.
Yeah, I think the series Mappa, those are the ones that smell like potatoes, right? Is that basically the thing that groups those together?
Basically, Amanita mappa is the European analog of our lavendula.
Yeah, I know it's a European name for a species, but in terms of this so-called series, the grouping I think might be based on that.
It probably includes Solonioans and Porphyria. Yeah.
So if we could name this, would be Amanita lavendula centrina group, or
no? Citrina is not a legitimate epithet for any of those.
Okay, that's the one I like best. Okay, so it's just a lavendula group. Okay.
Yeah, Americitrina might become a new species if Rod decides to publish it. But if the Canadians publish it, it could be called something else.
And same with that. Gosh, I always forget that Cornelia
hybrida.
Hybrida, yeah, hybrida, yeah, hybrid.
Okay, all right, cool. Yeah, I knew it was one of those lavendula type things. But to my eye, when I see lavendula, it is more of a lavender color. It's purplish. This was mostly kind of pinkish reddish. So I didn't know if that maybe one of those other species kind of presented that way.
The purple color is brought on by the frost. They don't look purple when it's warm, any of them.
Okay. Well, I've seen them purple before it gets cold. It's a pretty common species around here where I live. I haven't seen it this year though. It's just too dry for anything the last month. But sometimes you see them lavender, even before it gets cold.
Yeah, it's young. It still has its vulva and it's colored like that. It's typical of a young, fresh specimen. So nothing really surprising here.
All right, cool. Well, thank you. It's always good to share those because at this point, just all this Amanita information as I'm moving along in my education of them, they all kind of start blending together. So thanks for letting me talk that one out.
Yeah, I'm losing it. Like I'm knowing less about Amanita.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's one of those.
Day.
It happens every year to me. I hit like this critical load where I don't know. I just start forgetting stuff. So it's good to catch up on it.
Sure.
And this is a weird Pluteus. I'm calling it petasatus. You can see pretty small, especially that stem. I found it on the ground, which is the last photo, but we'll talk about the photos in order.
Go back to the first, or you want the?
Yeah, go to the second. Free gills, pink. I'm new in the field that it was a Pluteus. But a lot of things weren't really adding up for petasatus, especially if we want to go to the next. Yeah, this cap was it was very fresh. It was hot. This was like the first day that it got really, really hot. We had some cooler weather for a while, and it was kind of rainy. But it's been almost 90 degrees the past couple days, and I found this kind of baking in the sun. So maybe that's what's responsible for it being white and not having scales. Just a little bit of discoloration at the very center there. Yeah, so this is where I found it. On the ground by itself. It was probably coming off a piece of wood. But yeah, I'm calling it petasatus based on the Chylocystidia mostly.
Did you find intermediate cystidia? Oh, look at those spores.
Yeah.
Those are pretty ellipsoid.
Mm-hmm. And
broadly ellipsoid too. Some of them are ellipsoid.
Yep. And larger. My measurements for the spores landed right in the middle of the average, which was nice. I forget what the average was. Yeah. Yep.
Oh, okay.
And I'd love
no
to
scales on the cap, though. Like you said, it's pretty smooth. And did you find intermediate cystidia? Ones that are like.
I didn't look. I didn't look for them. I did see the intermediate cystidia in the description after I did the micro.
Yeah.
I didn't look for them, so I didn't find them.
Well, that might be one there that's coming in that's partially blurred.
So
it's got just one horn.
When you say intermediate cystidia, do you mean the poorly formed hooks? Because when I was reading on Myco Quebec, the intermediate cystidia are much smaller than these big things and probably about the size of the basidia. So they're hiding amongst those things.
Okay. Yeah, my understanding was not as such. I thought that the intermediate cystidia were mainly just ones that had like a single projection at the apex. Mushroom Expert has a photo of intermediate cystidia. I'm pretty sure.
Let's cycle through because I think I have a couple photos of what you're talking about. So like that one in the upper right.
Yeah, that's kind of what they show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep. But you can also see that a lot of these cystidia don't have any hooks. Most of them are 2-hooked. I found a couple 3-hooked, but it was kind of 50% hooked or no hooks at all. And then there were a handful of those quote unquote intermediate cystidia, those kind of like poorly formed things that have a hook coming out just kind of near the apex. Maybe there's another. Yeah, like this one has no hooks at all.
Yeah, like that. These are you know what? These cystidia are kind of thin, and the apices are small. Like the ones with the horns are pretty small.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to look one up, but there's another pure white Pluteus, Tomentosculus.
Yeah, but isn't that one? When I said this thing was, smooth, it didn't have. Isn't that one supposed to be kind of pubescent?
I think so. I'm not sure. It sounds like from the name that's probably right.
Because I looked at a couple of these. That was one that I looked at. Novosa, I think. Maybe that's the wrong epithet. It starts with an N. I think it is Novosa. That's another white one there, because there are a couple white ones. But you know, it all comes back to petasatus with these hooks.
Alfredo Justo told me just in a conversation online that petasatus is really highly variable in its morphology, and it can occur in a lot of different habitats, different types of habitat.
Yeah, and that's what Michael Quebec and Mushroom Expert both agree on that. And they have photos on the petasatus. Maybe not Michael Mushroom Expert, but Michael Quebec has a couple observations that are almost always white, but they're supposed to have the plates in the center. Even the white ones still have, you know, some kind of action, darker action in the center. So
yeah, little scales right in the middle.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I usually expect with petasatus. This is also kind of small and slender for petasatus, which is, you know, it's kind of forms big mushrooms. Pluteus are not easy. There's way more of them than people realize. Once you start finding them and looking at them, you find out there's good. I've got a Pluteus in my queue tonight, I believe.
Yeah, thought it was a cool, you know, it's a Pluteus for sure. I'm calling it petasatus because how variable petasatus is, and a lot of the micro matches up as well because my average for the spores was 6.9 long, which is on the bigger end for some of the other species that are compared to petasatus.
Yeah, so petasatus has broadly ellipsoid to ellipsoid spores, I guess, because I forget. I haven't looked at it.
Yeah, the Q matched up as well.
Cute. Yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing you really want to check.
They're not, you know, you can't really mistake any of those for subglobose, right?
I don't think so. No, and if there are a few that look subglobose, it's probably just because of the way that they're positioned.
Yeah, their profile, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. Cool.
Thank you, Brandon. To the next one.
Oh yeah. I don't know. Have we ever looked at a Chroogomphus on Taxonomy Tuesday?
Very cool. You're so lucky.
I may have put one on once. I forget because I found these Chroogomphus once or twice near where I live.
Yeah, they're cool. They pop up at the ID table. I know Igor knows them. He can ID them from a 2 tables away. But I always forgot if we called them rutilans or vinicolor. And I'm calling this one vinicolor. The cap color really does have like a wine red. Yeah, this photo, if we can zoom in, I guess it doesn't show up that great, but it's very much a wine red color.
Well, you certainly can see it in the outer 50% of the radius.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because that other one, what was the other one? The other one's like yellow, I think, kind of yellow.
It's brown. It can be both. Well, depending on environmental, factors, as well as both of the species are highly variable in color. Vinicolor, I think, always has a bit of a red thing going, but rutilans or ritilans, I forget the other species. I think it's rutilans.
No, it's not. It's rutilus.
Rutilus, yeah.
That's European. I collected that one in Lithuania and sequenced it.
Oh,
well,
wow.
There's something else that I have found here. It wasn't vinicolor. I'll look for it and I'll put a link in.
So there are 3 species on Myco Quebec. Rutalis, vinicolor, and one other species that I don't think is either one of these. But the difference between vinicolor and that other species, Rutalis, is the cell wall of the Chylosestidia. The spores are really cool looking, but if you can zoom in on the Chylosestidia there, either one.
Big thing?
Yeah. See how thick the wall is right around where my reticle kind of bisects it. So I measured that at the largest on one of them was over 5 microns. And aside from, morphological differences that I think are pretty well worked out, that thick cell wall locks in vinicolor for this one at least.
So for what it's worth, I've got one that was sequenced by Steve Russell, and he gave it a coded name.
Oh, cool.
I'll put it in the chat. But Ocraceus,
Yeah.
some number. Let me see. What was the number?
Well, I think Ocraceus is the other.
Indiana 01. So I just, I mean, that's my point of reference here, because I think most of the ones I found were around here were in that same spot, and so they're probably the same thing.
Yep, that's the other species on Myco Quebec. I'm just there now. It's Rutalis, vinicolor, and Ocraceus.
So I've got one from Franklin Parker Preserve, I guess, one time when I was in New Jersey, and that one, at least I called it vinicolor.
Nice.
Let's see, was there any voting on it? No, I have high confidence that it was vinicolor, so I don't remember why, but the color looks right. And the color, so I'll put this one in the chat also. The color looks like yours. So there's another one. So there's 2 more things in the chat there. The second one, the more recent one, that's the vinicolor.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that cap color is at least, along your margin, the color looked like that.
Oh, cool.
But Brandon's looked like it faded in the center of the cap.
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. That's why I keep referencing the outer portion of the cap, because that middle of that Brandon's cap is not normal. I don't think any of them look like that normally. It's just dried out.
It's not dried out. That's probably a reflection more than anything.
Oh, it's a reflection. Okay.
Yeah.
But it's not. But anyways, that's not really what it looks like normally.
Yeah, it almost looks like a bloom in the photo. I didn't even understand what you were talking about. But yeah, I think that's
they are very glossy. The caps are glossy on so they probably reflect a fair amount of light, positioned a certain way.
Yeah. I didn't even register that when you were talking about the margin, because I was just talking about the thing. I didn't even see that in the photo. But yeah, it's definitely a reflection. All right, cool. So that's that one. I don't see it often. You know.
The amount of decurrence on some of these things, I mean, this new Acracia one, is that the difference between this one and the other one? This one doesn't seem very decurrent.
No, they're just immature and they haven't uprolled.
Okay.
Yeah, those are just
Okay.
not expanded. Is that one mine?
That's what, well, it's the one that you had that strange, the IN number on it.
Yeah. What's the location on that one? Was that one Sweet Valley? Because that's different. Or is it Ricketts Glen?
I always get stuck in this thing.
Um,
Location. I don't know.
Because I can tell you the types of trees in either spot.
Oh, looks like pine. Let me get back to the link.
It's pine, yeah.
Yeah, I think they're all pine associates.
Ricketts Glen.
Oh, that's Ricketts. So that was there are some freshly planted white pines in a landscaped area. And that's where that was found.
Okay.
All right, and then I'm confident this is Rhizopogon. I'm really bad with Rhizopogon, and I didn't get an in situ photo for this one, unfortunately, because they were absolutely clumping. They were kind of growing not cespitous, but in clusters, and those clusters were well exposed. They weren't, for the most part, they were all above ground, though there were a couple of them that you could only see the top of. But the big thing about this one is that it's stained red when handled. So I was looking at roseus, I think is the species name for one of these. But the other thing is that they had the indistinct odor of horseradish. And I mean, I don't pick up on a lot of odors very well. These things could clear your nostrils, smelled like horseradish. So I don't know. Yeah, I mean, they were found at the base of a pine tree, I believe. But it's mixed woods. Not sure what they were associating with. But yeah, does anyone know of Rhizopogon that just absolutely smells like horseradish?
Not immediately. We haven't sequenced any of these things, so we don't know what we have in the Pine Barrens, unfortunately.
Right.
We actually found one at Smithville, didn't we?
Was that the I know we found one at Skyline Run. And I think we put the name the name that I just mentioned, Roseus, I think it was.
Yeah. But you left early from Smithville. I think it transpired later that there was somebody brought in a Rhizopogon. We cut it in half and we saw the gleba, so it was pretty
Any odor?
conclusive.
Any odor? Did you smell it? Because
No, I didn't, unfortunately. No. I often forget to smell things for some reason, not because I'm squeamish or anything like that. It just doesn't come to me naturally,
Right. But yeah, a bunch of people. I actually passed this one around. I smelled it first and passed it around, and everyone did the same thing. Took a whiff, like, ooh, like, oh yeah, that's is pungent, in a pleasant way, But yeah, that's Rhizopogon.
I'm seeing a document from the New York Botanical Garden that goes pretty deep into them. Did you already see that, Brandon?
No, I have not. The New York Botanical Garden has a good Rhizopogon
Yeah,
paper.
I'll put it in the chat in a second, though. But yeah, it looks like it might be helpful. So
Cool.
yeah, just give
Thank
me.
you. Yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah, that's a really cool find.
Yeah, and for anyone that doesn't know Rhizopogon, I think if you zoom in on this photo, you can see the rhizomorphs kind of fused to the underside. Yeah, right there. That's a good clue that you're gonna want to look in genus Rhizopogon.
Do those bounce? Like, I think I've heard they bounce. Have you?
I've never heard that and I've never tried that, but I could absolutely see that being the case.
Yeah.
Michael
They're like-
Quebec says that Rhizopogon roseolus
That one. That's
has an unpleasant odor.
yeah, but is like, would horseradish be unpleasant to some people? Like, that's an offensive odor.
I can guarantee you some people do not like it.
And I can guarantee that a lot of people do too. So I think that's a pretty biased statement.
Yeah. Yeah, I love it. I have a giant patch of it in my garden, and every time I dig it up, it's fantastic.
Now the Google Translate, though, may have translated a word that doesn't necessarily really mean unpleasant.
It might mean pungent.
Pungent. Yeah, it
Yeah.
might be something like that. Yeah.
Which if that is the translation, absolutely, horseradish is pungent, right?
Oh, well, you know what? I'm gonna go back to French and see what the word is that they use.
Oh, nice.
I'm not going to know what it means, but somebody might. So let me just look here. Where does it say unpleasant odor? I don't know how to go back to French.
If you don't know how to go back to French, don't do it, because you might not make it back to English. So.
I'll get it back. It goes. Oh, there we are. No, it says odeur désagréable. Okay, so if that's an actual French word there, which I assume it is, it sounds like it means disagreeable. So, all right, back to English.
Not a linguist, but I'd agree with that.
Sounds like a pretty good bet.
The French and their opinions.
Well, yeah. All right, cool. Well, we don't look at a lot of Rhizopogon, so.
Okay. Maybe I'll dig up the ones that are in my front yard. Anything else, Brandon? I think I got all 5. You only had 4.
Yep.
Well, thank you, Brandon. Emily, are you ready?
I guess we'll find out.
Okay, stopping share.
And starting share. We sharing?
I see it.
Yes.
Awesome. All right, this is my fun find of the week. Let's see if I can zoom in here. So this was found after the foray at Belle Plaine on Saturday. Mike and I were leaving and we decided to listen to the GPS, which took us down a wrong turn, and then we had to turn around. But as we were turning around, we saw this massive mushroom, and I quickly stopped the car and ran out to go see what it was. And when I say massive, this thing is about 27 centimeters across when I measured it.
Nice.
Yeah,
It's
that's big.
dark blue staining. Strong bouillon smell. That thing is much bigger than my head.
Wow.
Yeah. So that was pretty cool. And we're going with Lanmaoa pallidorosea for this one because of the strong bouillon smell, which I do have a debate about that. Everybody says that it smells like beef bouillon, but it smells like chicken to me. I don't know. Maybe I don't know what beef bouillon smells like.
I would agree with that.
But
Bouillon,
yeah, just bouillon. But yeah, that was my fun find. Anybody have any interesting fun facts about this?
People eat it, right?
It's my understanding.
Yeah, people eat it.
Yeah, it's good, huh?
Yeah, I I agree. This is there's nothing else that can look like this. The size, the coloration of the cap, the odor. We came across some strange pallidorosea in Pennsylvania at the Helen McNess foray. This one looks more like the classic pallidorosea. So even in photographs.
Yeah, it's a little bit old and faded, but I have found really, really large pallidorosea also that are as big as this one. So
yeah, 27 centimeters. That's excessive. I mean, I've never seen boletes of that size.
No.
Yeah, I've seen them this big,
especially in the drought that we're having right now. That's unusual.
Right.
Looks pretty fresh and
It's beautiful.
not mushy. I hope you cooked it and ate it.
It's in the dehydrator right now.
Okay, yeah.
But yeah, no bugs. Perfectly clean.
Yeah, very nice. Kind of late, I rarely see hardwood associated boletes in New Jersey after mid-September. One year stands out though, 2018, but that was an unusual year, I think, in some ways.
Well, I'd like to talk about that for a second because it's been really hot. I mean, it's been almost 90 degrees for a while now. I'm wondering if that factors in.
I imagine this was this in the southern half of New Jersey?
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
down in Belle Plaine, so Cape May County.
so the leaves are probably all still green,
Mhm.
and the trees are still actively producing nutrients. So, that could account for these hardwood boletes hanging on longer than usual.
Yeah. So Belle Plaine is actually, I think, outside of the pinelands. We didn't find Lanmaoa in the New Jersey Pine Barrens. So again, we're talking about an outer coastal plain, but outside of the core pinelands area. And this is where I know there's a lot of oaks at Belle Plaine, and that's why I think we scheduled that foray earlier this year just to see what comes out. Because typically that's our last foray of the season. We have it in November, but I convinced Nina to have it early in October.
And was it a productive foray?
I didn't go.
Yeah, it was. The area that we went to, I was surprised at how much there was because it's been so dry and everybody really found a good amount of stuff.
Well, that was kind of the other part of why I wanted to talk about the heat. But I've been finding tons of mushrooms, and out in or outer coastal plain area, even though it's been very dry. So it's kind of interesting that all the forays have been very productive in South Jersey, even though there hasn't been a ton of rain.
There was a bunch of stuff there. There was even I don't know if you agree, Emily. Was that the biggest chunk of Spiraceus you've ever seen?
Actually, we found one last year.
It was ridiculous.
Yeah, it was huge. I wonder if he found it in the same place. I didn't happen to ask him, but yeah, we found one last year about that size.
It's like a basketball.
Well, I'm glad this earlier foray at Belle Plaine panned out, and I think we should be having those earlier just because of the habitat. There was a lot of oak in there.
Well, I'll second that. We didn't find much last year, and this year was much more productive, so I agree.
Yeah, we should be going to more pine habitats like Estelle Manor at the end of the season. So that was a good choice, I think. I'm glad that panned out pretty well, especially in a drier year like this. So yeah, that's a humongous pallidorosea. It doesn't look like that big, in the first photo.
No, but when you see it next to my face.
Yeah.
Is the rain forecast for New Jersey tonight? We're supposed to have a fair amount of rain here, like an inch or more.
Yeah, we're supposed to get some rain, but not a huge amount, maybe half an
But there's
inch.
a nor'easter that might come up in Sunday and Monday also. Looks like New Jersey's going to get hit.
Yeah, it looks like we're going to get a good amount of rain over the next week. I say that actually. Everybody hear that? Knocked on wood. But yeah, hopefully some rain over the next week.
Thank you, Emily.
Thank you.
Is there anybody else who would like to share from their screen before we go to the emails, which I think is just remaining with Dave?
Oh, did you see? I did put the Rhizopogon file in the chat.
Yeah, so it's a PDF. Do we have a link of where the PDF came from?
I don't know. Are you guys aren't able to get that?
No, I was able to get the PDF, but I can't give a link. You know, if I want to put this on to maybe I can see open file location. No, yeah, it's just it's the actual document. It's not the link of what website it came from. So it'd be hard for me to share on YouTube.
Okay. But
Well, don't share it. Don't share it. It's in the chat though.
Are you able to get it, Brandon?
Yep. Looks good. Appreciate that.
Okay.
It's somewhere on the New York Botanical Garden site, I think.
Yeah, I can try to look deeper, but continue. Sorry to interrupt.
Okay, Dave, are you ready?
Okay.
It's 8 o'clock. Okay.
So one of these gray birch Leccinum, they're pretty common. There's a few different species. Igor has some coded names, NJ01, NJ02, I believe. But this one, I shared this one because of the extreme staining that occurred on the sliced context, which as you go through the photos, you'll see that. So these first few photos don't show. Also, there's some nice brown staining on the pores. Now, this was right after I cut it. Immediately after I cut it, it was already stained, sort of a turquoise blue on the lower stipe. But in the subsequent photos, you'll see that the staining progressed quite a bit within about maybe between 5 and 10 minutes. Yeah, that's pretty extreme. So the red goes all the way up into the cap. The blue is very dark toward the bottom. So my guess here is variecolor, Leccinum variecolor. But we'll see what Igor says.
I think this is snellii.
I think it's snellii, but look at the cap. The cap is like mottled, and
they look the same pretty much.
Yeah. Okay.
But they have very different sequences in the tree. Variecolor actually is an outlier. It's sort of not really a member of a section scabra. It sort of sits on the periphery, but morphologically they are very, very close.
Okay, well, I preserved this.
Yeah,
so
that's
dried
good.
out. It's in a bag.
Yeah, we do have a type sequence from snellii, and I already confirmed one snellii that I collected at Stokes. So we know what
the other things I thought maybe favored variecolor was the really dark, densely scabrous stipe, and the cap color too is snellii. I mean, my understanding of snellii usually is that it's usually more gray, but that might be wrong.
Yeah, there's according to that paper by Noderloss and Dan Becker, there's a difference in habitat for the two species. One is found in more acidic and dry. The other one is more moist and basic soil. I forget, something like that. I have to check. I always forget about the details.
Yeah, this one was near a stream, but in a fairly dry spot. There was some moss on a mossy bank of a small cold-fed birch present. A fairly acidic environment, I would say.
Yeah, I would go with snellii, but what do we know about these things? I mean, we have one collection of varicolor that Robert Gergulix brought in to Coma 10 years ago, and that's the one that got sequenced, but he found that in Connecticut. So maybe varicolor is more boreal than snellii. So yeah, if you have
Also
a chance.
that varicolor, that might be the one that favors more basic soil conditions. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
I'm not sure about that.
yeah,
But I
It's
find a lot of what I think is snellii. Of course, nothing is looking exactly like it usually should because it's so dry.
yeah, but even before you cut it, I saw that cap cover with wider areas, and I said, yeah, that's got to be snellii. And then the staining, yeah, the snellii stains pretty fast when it's fresh. But you said this one was on the dry side too because of the weather, and yet they
Yeah,
have
it's very
such a
dry here. Everything is dry.
splendid display of colors.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
that's why I shared it. It's really interesting how vivid the stain is on this.
yeah, I thought that was interesting as well. So does it start blue? Does the apex ever go blue, or it just stays red?
No, it's just it might fade in time, but it's these types are usually blue on the bottom and red usually just near the juncture
Yeah,
of,
cool.
of the stipe and the cap. This one, the red's going right up into the cap a little bit, but that's typical though. This sort of two different staining colors on the bottom and the toward the top.
Nice. Thanks for sharing that one.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I thought people would like that one. So this thing here was found in a mossy area near a stream. I mean, we hiked this trail that goes up along a cold, fast, cold stream, and there's a lot of moss on the banks. And there was this, and I thought this was Arhenia. And so I got some spores, and the spore print was not dark enough that I could really make out any pigmentation. So I still thought Arhenia. And then I looked under the microscope, and it's an Entoloma. Look at the spores. The spores are angular. So I looked on Mycoquebec, and there are 3 or 4 of these omphiloid Entoloma species that are documented on Mycoquebec. So I think there's actually Nautilus has subgenus Omphaliopsis or something. I think I actually wrote it in here someplace, or I think I even proposed it under the IDs, one of the IDs, as this section or subgenus Omphaliopsis. So, so I definitely dried this thing out, and I've got a sample of this. If I have a chance to put things in for sequencing, this one will definitely be included. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah, it's a cool one. I made the case for an Arhenia that Nina took home from Scotland Run, I think it was. And the next week she was like, yeah, it's an Entoloma. So
I thought that there was a thing we discussed a few weeks ago that I thought it was Arhenia also, if I was in that, because I remember having a discussion like this about something that looked like this, and we kind of decided Arhenia, and then I saw this, and that sort of had a little flashback to that thing. So pretty interesting.
Yeah, cool one.
Besides spores, are those Ahinias and the Entelomas really look that much alike? I mean,
the mushrooms.
Yeah.
Yeah, Arhenia looks like these. Arhenia.
The characteristics are, does it all have this sunken cap?
Yeah, and this like streaky, radially streaky caps, or even sometimes a little bit grooved. The gills are fairly similar, maybe not as broad as these gills. But I thought this was Arhenia when I found it.
They both all have short the short gills as well as the regular.
There's a lot of short gills on this guy. That's a good thing to notice. So yeah, I mean, what's the Arhenia that's the common one? Let me just look on Quebec here first, because there's one species that's pretty common.
It's the one that starts with an E, right?
Yeah.
Ec-
Epicesium.
Yeah.
It's probably not saying that correctly, but it does not look dissimilar from this.
Okay.
It looks quite a bit like this, actually.
It's got a little bit more like bluish coloration, right? Is that the
Yeah,
same
I'm looking
one?
at Quebec now, and some of them are brown, and some of them are gray, and some of them are yellow. So, and this one here is kind of great. Yeah, this really, I mean, it doesn't look exactly like it, but it looks enough like it that I thought that's what it was. Or maybe if I had if I got spores that were not angular, I probably would have just put it on Mushroom Observer and proposed genus Arhenia.
For Entoloma, I always look for the unicorn one, something pushing up. So seems odd that it would have both pushed up ones and sunken caps.
Huge genus. They have sunken, they have umbos.
Oh God, yeah,
Okay,
Entoloma.
but let's break
yeah,
that genus up. It's too big.
morphology's all over the place.
Subgenus is where we're at on this one, right? So
Well,
that's
subgenus,
the
yeah,
idea.
but you know what, Tim Baroni, he's the Entoloma expert for North America, at least, and he favors having a few different genera, which I think makes sense. You know, with these Entolomas, there's so much variation in morphology.
The Omphaloid ones, I like that they're landing in, what is it, Omphaliopsis, right?
If that actually is sensible, you know, some of these things might end up not coinciding with genetics, you know. So, but actually, this is a fairly recent characterization. I think 2010 or something like that, because I looked it up, and so there's probably genetic support for this subgenus. So yeah, it is good that there is a characterization that apparently captures the morphology of these strange Entolomas. There's only a few species. At least there's only a few on Quebec.
So this subgroup is all going to have this sunken cap.
Yeah, they all. Yeah. So Omphalina is another mushroom that
Right.
I'm not even sure, is that genus still around anymore, or did
I hope so.
That get split up? I think maybe it is, but it basically means the sunken cap.
Well, Illudens is at least, you know, still a good name for Omphalotus, right?
No, that's Omphalotus. Did I say Omphalotus? I'm sorry. There's another genus. Let me see if I can find it.
Well, Omphaloid, you know, the umbrella sunken capped things is a general descriptor for mushrooms that have that gestalt, right?
Yeah, well, see, now there's Chrysoomphalina, and I think that used to be Omphalina. I think that's where this word kind of comes from. I'm just gonna Google Omphaliopsis. Yeah, so it's not Omphalotus, it's Omphaliopsis
Ah,
is what I was trying to think of. Yeah, Omphaliopsis ericitorum. And that's now lichen Omphaliopsis umbellifera. Okay, so that's where this word omphaloid comes from, or this subgenus. So apparently there used to be, it looks like there used to be a genus Omphaliopsis, and it's been now split up into these other different genera. So
Okay.
it looks like it. Let's see, I've got. Yeah, it looks like what used to be Omphaliopsis ericitorum is now lichen Omphaliopsis umbellifera. Okay, but anyway, yeah, that's apparently the origin of the words that basically have this root. So do you guys get these in the Pine Barrens? These Cantharellula umbonata, these graylings?
Oh
And
yeah.
now
oh yeah. Yep.
I thought you probably did, because there's plenty of mossy areas in the Pine Barrens. And these things seem to like pine. So they're actually a pretty good edible, if you can find enough of them. And they are not difficult to learn to identify, as long as you don't fool yourself by misidentifying some of the small Cletosebes that look something like these. But here's the one of the keys. Look at the repeatedly forked gills.
Repeatedly forked? Oh, I see.
Repeatedly forked.
Okay, I see the
Yes,
second
they
fork.
are
Okay.
repeatedly forked. Yep. And sometimes you'll find them with a brown stain, and the brown stain looks like it's decaying or something, but that's just a fairly natural thing with this species. The gills stain brown. So you can see here that some of the gills have 3 forks. So,
Do they have an
and there's
odor?
usually an umbo, and at least some of them will have an umbo. So they grow in groups in moss, and some of them will not have an umbo, but some of them will. This one has a nice central umbo. That's where the species name comes from. By the way, iNaturalist has a new common name for these, which I forget what it is, because I've always called these graylings.
Do they have any odor like the regular chanterelles?
Not really. No. I'm not even sure they're related to. I think these are in the Hygropheraceae.
Okay.
I'm not sure. I think they are though.
Well, aren't they? What is it? Cantharellus?
Cantharellula.
Cantharellula.
Yeah, well, that genus was named as such because they resemble Cantharellus because of the forked gills, forked decurrent gills.
And do you find these when we find them in the Pine Barrens? Obviously, it's Pine Barrens, so it's like sandy soil.
No, I find them in moss, deep moss usually. Not real wet, but usually somewhat damp at least.
And what is the size? I don't see size information.
Well,
Penny.
you see the penny there.
Okay.
These are big ones, actually. Generally, they're smaller than these. But, I guess, maybe up to 3 centimeters wide, maybe a little wider sometimes, the caps. The stems tend to be long, at least the ones that I find tend to be long because they grow in deep moss. So they have to have a long stem to get up above the moss.
I'd be interested to know, Hunter, do you find these things in Wisconsin or Illinois?
Possibly. Yeah, possibly. I haven't put a name on it. It's new to me. So Yeah, but
Well,
I think
it's a
I've
good.
seen the name before. But yeah, not sure.
Yeah, it's easy to ID, and I agree with Dave. They're really good if you can find. I mean, they're pretty small, so you got to find a bunch of them. But
Yeah, you need a lot of them. Sometimes you find a lot of them. I have run across fruitings
yeah,
of, well over 50.
yep, yep. And I often, even when you find like a small patch of them, you're gonna find 5 to 10. You know.
Yeah, these were growing in, no more than 1.5 square yards, let's say. It was a small area. And I didn't even take all of them. There were a few that were a little bit deteriorated, which I left. Because I picked these to eat because I figure like these are probably pretty well known, so I didn't bother drying any of them out.
Cool. Yeah, I'd like to try to find them now for sure. I bet we do have them. So the decurrent gills, and then like what are the other main?
The repeatedly forked gills is a
Okay.
really and at least some of you usually find them in groups, and some of them, at least some of them, will have a central umbo. But the repeatedly forked gills, the one, what, the gills look a little bit like Hygrophilopsis, which
Okay.
I suppose it's possible to confuse with Hygrophilopsis, but Hygrophilopsis are usually have a thicker stalk. They're colored differently, but the gills are similar.
And I see the attachment again.
Yeah, it's a subdecurrent, decurrent.
Okay.
There's no notch or anything like that. Yeah, there's the picture you want. See, they come
Thank-
down the stalk.
Yeah. Okay,
Mhm.
cool. Yeah, I'll look for those. That would be neat. And was there staining? Were you showing staining?
Yes. The
Okay.
gills stain brown.
Brown.
Yeah,
Okay.
you usually find some brown blotches here and there on some of the gills. The thing you just have to watch out for are the small Cletosebes, truliformis, subditopa, I think is another small gray Cletosebe that superficially resembles these things, but they're not going to have these repeatedly forked gills. So I would suggest if you want to learn to collect these to eat, that you should also delve into the small gray Cletosebes also, which you can find some of them on Myco Quebec.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Sure. So I've got this nice little Pluteus. It was really fresh. The one thing that has been coming out during this dry period is Pluteus, because they tend to fruit on large pieces of wood that retain moisture even during dry periods. So look at this is a really beautiful one found, during very dry weather. It's really fresh. So this got dried out, but I cut off a little piece and got some spores and looked at the gills. And so this is and these are also the spores on these are also broadly ellipsoid, with some of them being ellipsoids, pretty similar to the spores shown before by Brandon. So here we have mostly Chylocystidia here. They just look like balloons, and then in the upper part looks like they're transitioning maybe into some Pleurocystidia on this photo. And as we go through this, we're going to progress through different types of cystidia. So I think they're so some of these might be intermediate, like this one that's in the lower center here. And these are Chylocystidia here, these ones that just look like balloons. And then we're gonna get into the really Pleurocystidia now. So these are the Pleurocystidia. Look at all the horns. And look at how long the horns are. And look at some of them appear to be bifurcated. Look at to the far left. That one horn looks like it's bifurcated to me. And it's hard to get
Oh yeah.
the camera to really record this stuff really well. But looking through the microscope, it really looked to me like some of these horns were bifurcated. So in other words, it's like a horn that's split into two horns. And also these horns are pretty long. So those are Pleurocystidia, the thick, and you can't really tell from the photo. Well, you can see here, this one's got a fairly thick wall. You can see towards the base. You can see how the wall is thick. But look at the horns. Look at that one. Looks like it's really bifurcated just in the lower left there. Looks like it's split. And so I think this might be Pluteus hongoi. So the characters all fit pretty well. And so that is what I proposed. And by the way, the reason why I know I spoke to Lila about a preference for INAT or Mushroom Observer, and I went back to Mushroom Observer because of this. Because you see, I can put two identification proposals. They both show up. They show my confidence regarding each one. And you can't do that on INAT. And INAT, it either is what, or it is, or it isn't. So the one thing I don't like about INAT is it can't do this. So I don't know. Maybe Pluteus hongoi deserves a promising, but
Yeah, I was just about to ask.
yeah, that might deserve a promising.
It might because of the bifurcated horns. But my question more was, why you are able to put Pluteus and Pluteus hongoi as a proposition, but isn't that kind of counterproductive? You put Pluteus up there as 50%. It's a Pluteus.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
It's 100%.
Well,
It's
I
100%.
don't put I'd call it
Pluteus.
that. See, I don't put it as I'd call it that because I'm not calling it Pluteus. I'm saying this is definitely falls within genus Pluteus, but I don't know if I'd want to call it that because it might be something more specific that we can apply. This is just a convention that I use. I've actually talked to Nathan Wilson about this. He actually does not agree with me that to use the proposals as such. And so Nathan is agreeing with you, basically. But this is what I do. This is what I do.
And I'm not saying that's a bad thing.
No, but it's worth discussing because you're right. It's easy to see these two proposals and wonder, what am I actually saying here?
Well, it also affects the outcome when people agree or disagree with you, right? Because if I want to agree with hongoi, that's still not gonna supplant Pluteus.
Yes, it will. If you go on and you vote on the level of promising, that'll push it up to closer to the 58%. Now, if one or two people do that, then that to me is just see when other people weigh in and have the same idea, then to me that deserves recognition. And so what I might do is I might go up to my Pluteus proposal and drop that down to could be, so that the hongoi takes preference. So I can always tweak these things to reflect more when more information comes in, including what other people have to say.
Yeah, cool.
So I like Mushroom Observer because of that. That's what I like about it. Okay, so we had a discussion a few times about microscopy in the Inocybe. So this is not a particularly wonderful collection. This one on the left is really old and shriveled. But I was able to hack off some gill, and also I was able to lie that one down on a slide, and actually some spores dropped. Even so, this other nicer one I preserved because that one's in pretty good condition. So I preserved that one. But look at the spores. So why do I think this is an Inocybe? The spores are not nodular, nodulose, right? They're just like these, they look like actually like Hebeloma spores, really, the way they're shaped. Or maybe they're like Cortinarius spores. But it's not, this is not Cortinarius. It's in the Inocybe, but we need more microscopy, right? And that's enough with the spores, I guess. We can move past the spores. So this was floating, these were floating around. Actually, I think one of these photos, oh, the last one, it's going to be the last one, but these were from a smash mount. And this was the last one. This was when I just mounted what I got from a drop, spore drop in some KOH. And this thing showed up, and it was actually the nicest photo that I got of one of the cystidia. And this is clearly a thick-walled cystidium. You can see the walls. It's not stained at all either. It's just got kind of lucky here with this one. It's got a ornamented apex, and so this is clearly a metuloid. This is a pleurocystidium. So that is why I'm calling this Inocybe, because of the presence of thick-walled cystidia, and in fact ornamented apex. I never find this kind of thing on Malocybe or Inosperma or Pseudosperma. Those they just have chylocystidia, and the chylocystidia are usually just look like balloons. So these fancier thick-walled cystidia are. This is why I'm calling this thing Inocybe. Well, I don't have it. Do I have it as I probably dropped it down to promising. So I imported this from INAT, and when you import from INAT, it defaults to I'd call it that. But I dropped it down to promising, not because I don't think it belongs in genus Inocybe, but because I'm just indicating here that there's room to improve on the identification. Hopefully we'll be able to supplant the generic identification here with a species of some sort, even if it's some coded species, because hopefully eventually maybe I can get this sequenced, because I did save that one nicer fruit body. So all that microscopy I got from that little shriveled up one that was really not in very good condition.
Cool.
Before we go
Yeah,
on
that one
to
photo, that was just pure luck, really.
Yeah, remember the one, I think I shared it last week, right? Where I couldn't figure out where those cystidia were from,
Yeah,
because they were free floating from a smash mountain. That's where you get the best photographs of those things.
it's true. Yeah.
But
And I think it's usually the pleurocystidia that
yeah,
get dislodged.
yeah, I agree. But there's no way to prove that when it's free floating, right?
No, there's no way to prove it. But this guy here with the thick walls and the ornamented apex, it's highly unlikely this is a chylocystidium.
Yep.
someone wanted to share something from Facebook. Was it Hunter?
We could try that, although yeah, I need to bring it up. So give me a second. So this was on the NJMA site, and Nicole posted it, and there's not enough people on there to really give her, what she should be getting in terms of her post, the feedback wise. And so I mean, I was the only one who gave feedback, but I requested more feedback, and that did not come. And so I thought maybe I could share it here. And so I can try to do a screen share now. We'll see if it works out. Here we go. Let's see. should be coming. Just give me a moment. Okay, I think it should be here by now, but I'm not seeing it. What about you guys?
I see Zoom and stop broadcast. I don't see your screen with a picture.
Yeah, I see that too. Let me try then. So it may be that
You
sharing.
want to just take that picture and put it into the chat? Can you do that?
You could try that. She's got like 9 different pictures.
Oh, okay. She did a good
So,
job.
yeah, and so right. So I mean, I think I should be. Let's see. I'm just trying to think. If website URL is better, maybe I could try that. No, that's not going to work. Let me try one more time, just sharing my screen and
Okay.
to the screen.
No,
Everything on your screen, yeah, weird.
it's
Okay,
the same as the other.
okay, then
Could you post the link in the chat and maybe we can share screen from Sue?
Somebody would have to get into Facebook in order to see it.
right. That's the thing. Let's see. Right. And I tried to actually share it, and there was only a send button, not a share button. And I thought maybe I could like share it to Lila and Messenger or something, and that didn't work out. So yeah, I'm not really sure, but what I can do is take a couple screenshots and put them in the chat, and then we can see if we can figure this out. So just give me 1 second. I just want to take. Oh, interesting. Okay. Okay.
I know you're trying to concentrate, but who did you say found these? Was it Nicole?
Yeah, Nicole. Mhm.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, yeah. And I just, I just would love for, I think I'm, I could be totally wrong. I just really didn't, it just didn't feel right to me, the Rhizopus ID. And so, but I wanted more feedback too. And so I thought, we could somehow look at it here.
Yeah, this is something that has been in conversation about grabbing stuff from people who interact on Facebook and bringing some of the stuff here to ID. So I feel like you're doing all the work, Hunter.
Great.
Could you just copy the photo to your own desktop or something and then share it like it's yours?
Well, right now I'm just on my iPad, but there should be some coming up in chat right now. Do you see some things now that you can open for everyone, Sue?
I see
look
it in
for
the
the chat.
You see it in chat?
Yeah, trying to get
Yeah, I
into the
see it.
Facebook.
Okay.
Oh,
So, and I mean, unfortunately, there's like if you open that one big photo on Facebook, there's
Well, I can tell you now that's not Rhizopus.
Yeah, I was going to say I don't know enough about section vaginate, but I do know that doesn't look like Rhizopus, right?
No, in fact, I would look to see if it's got a little ring or a little partial veil because it looks like that might be Spreta.
That's what I said. Spreta, yes. Okay, good.
But you have to see the underneath. I mean,
Exactly.
this could be section vaginate.
I don't think this is spread. I think this is section vaginale.
You think it's vaginate? Okay.
How
Yeah,
about
But it's not Rhacopus.
Anna?
no, it's not Rhacopus. No. Yeah,
Okay,
look at that vulva.
well, and the striations are like almost 50%, aren't they? Like,
Oh, they're long striations? I can't tell. Then it's not spread. Spread has short striations.
Yeah, that first photo, if anyone can just click on it in the chat, yeah, that's striate, right?
oh yeah, yeah. There's very long striations on. Yeah, I mean, I think they're quite long for Rhacopus, but and then yeah, I mean,
Well, Rhacopus can have long striations, but the vulva's wrong for Rhacopus. It's
Yeah,
not
it's got
going to be a
no.
white sac.
right.
It,
Unfortunately, none of the pictures show it dug up. So,
Yeah, you can't see underneath the captives. Now, what's that one? Muriolana? That's a Caesar, I think.
yeah, it looks like a Caesar vulva, doesn't it? Yeah, could be.
Kind of, but I mean, it doesn't look unlike what you would expect in at least some of the species in section vaginate.
Yeah, this looks more like something like Shark River ensis.
By the way, did you see the Canadians had published a new name for Shark riverensis?
Yeah, probably. I already forget what they published.
Yeah.
I have to look up stuff on MO. I just don't keep that
Yeah,
stuff.
I just ran across it on MO, actually. By the way, Igor, did you figure out what was going on with that sequence for that Weaver that you had? I think Sigrid just put the wrong sequence on.
She could, but that I always had doubts about that Swivus. I never thought it was 100% Weaver. It looks more like granulatus, but granulatus doesn't grow with white pines unless, as I explained in my comment that nobody responded to. They've been growing in these pines in some nursery, and somehow granulatus was able to jump onto Pinus strobus.
Yeah, it sounds a little far-fetched.
But
anyway.
they're large. I've seen they grow every year, sometimes more than once, and they come out as these tight clusters, and the fruit bodies, the caps are huge, and
yeah,
they always
I shouldn't have brought it up really because
they're always yellow brown. They're never like Weaver. So this thing never looked like the classic Weaver to me.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have brought it up because it's really off topic for right now. Sorry.
Yeah, that's okay.
Okay, it's after 9 o'clock, but we can go through the rest of Dave's things if you want to, Dave.
Sure.
Just a follow up on Hunter's thing that we were just looking at. It's definitely not Rhacopus, right?
Absolutely, 100%.
Definitely not Rhacopus.
Yeah. Okay.
And the suggestion was spreader. Is that correct?
No, spreaders have short striations.
Okay.
And spreaders don't have vulval sacs like that. They have very friable vulvas.
Oh, that's right. They have a small vulva.
Yeah, they have very friable sac. Yeah.
What about that thing Muraliana?
Too dark.
Too dark. Okay. That's what I thought. Maybe too dark.
Okay.
Yeah. You know what? The thing that I found on MO, which is the new name for Shark riverensis, was a dark one like this.
Yeah, this is really dark, like Brunius or something.
Where did she find this? Is she found this in New Jersey? She did not
say, but I assume New Jersey. Yeah. What about Virginiensis?
No, that's section Caesaria, Virginiana.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, those are small.
Yeah, those are small.
Really small.
They're gray. They're gray, they're not brown.
Yeah, small and gray. Yep.
Okay, cool. Well, I'm glad that I was clear that it was not, I at least I have that feedback, which is helpful to me. I'm on the, what I mean? I'm kind of got it, that one. All right. Thanks.
Hey, Dave, you have another
Oh,
Agaricus?
so I was mowing what is left of my lawn a few days ago. So part of our yard is sloping, and there's actually water that runs underground underneath this sloping part of my lawn. So even during a drought like we've had the last month or so, the lawn stays green in this little area. And I'm mowing the lawn, and I noticed there's a mushroom there. I hadn't noticed it. So I did not mow that part. I avoided it and went back out and picked this mushroom, and it's an agaricus. And so I thought, oh, it's just, something in the campestris group, Andrewii or something like that. The spores are pretty big, though. 7.5 is on the larger side of the lengths for field mushrooms, field agaricus. But the strange thing is the one photo that shows the cut stipe.
I don't have
So
that.
yeah, it's the third one. One,
Mhm.
two, next one. There
Oh,
it
that
is.
one. Okay.
Yeah, it's yellow.
Cut that way.
It was. There's a pale yellow stain on the cut portion of the stipe base, and so that suggests either section or subgenus. I forget what it is. Xanthoderma, blah blah blah. It's a really long word. It's the poisonous ones that have the chemical odor and they stain yellow on the stipe base, or section arvenses, which are the horse mushrooms. So in order to see if it could be one or the other, I put some KOH on the cap, little piece of the cap, and I tried some sort of watered down KOH that I used to mount spores, like it's about 3%. I also tried some stronger KOH that's probably closer to 10%, and I got no reaction from the KOH on the cap. And according to Kerrigan, this rules out either of these two sections. The one that starts with X and it's really long, or arvenses. So I don't know what this is, and I should have saved some of it. Instead, I ate it. I should have saved it.
Well, that's kind of
It's a really interesting mushroom. I should have saved it.
So you're okay. So it doesn't mean that means it's not Xantho.
Well, maybe some people don't get sick on those apparently, because if you read reports, a lot of them will say, some people get sick on it, but it didn't smell bad either. In fact, it smelled nice. It didn't smell like arvenses, like a almondy, really sweet, but it smelled like a meadow mushroom. Honestly, I think it's probably just some sort of anomaly caused by being out in the soil during very, very dry conditions. It was probably out there for a week, and there's no bugs now. One thing about this having a drought, there's no bugs, or very few at least. So mushrooms that do fruit, they tend to be able to remain in situ for long periods of time, and that's probably what happened with this one. So that's my best guess is that it is just something in the same section as, I guess that would be section Agaricus or subgenus Agaricus, where the meadow mushrooms are. But I hope another one comes up. It's raining out here now. Maybe I'll get a few more of these. So
oh good.
we'll